particularly dangerous. 2% dehydration can affect your heart, blood vessels, and aerobic function. 5% dehydration, serious thermal injury can occur. Your body can absorb about 1 liter of fluid per hour, and it's suggested to replace it with cool, dilute, small amounts and to drink it small amounts every 10 to 15 minutes. I'm not saying that you need to measure the temperature. It says here 41 degrees Fahrenheit, but you should drink fluids. Some people find that cool fluids may upset their stomach, so don't drink cool fluids. But just be sure to replace fluids. Drink before, during, and after an event. When you're physically active, don't wait until you're thirsty. After exercise, it's recommended to replace 16 to 24 ounces for every pound of weight that's lost. Sometimes folks who are participating in long events like the marathon, they'll weigh themselves before and after, and that difference in weight is fluid. And for every pound of fluid that they've lost, they need to drink 16 to 24 ounces. Hyponatremia refers to low sodium in the blood. This is a life-threatening condition that shows up in marathon runners or folks who consume large amounts of water without replacing the sodium during an endurance event. We talked about fluid balance, and we'll talk more about it probably in the next week or two, but we have water and electrolytes in our blood. We have potassium inside our cells and sodium outside our cells. Those need to be maintained in a balance. If you replace fluid without replacing sodium, that causes an electrolyte imbalance called hypo, meaning lower than. Na is the chemical symbol for sodium in the blood. Hyponatremia. It causes difficulty breathing, bloating, confusion, swelling around the brain. This condition can be fatal. Electrolyte losses occur during sweating. You lose sodium, you lose chloride, you lose fluid. One of the benefits of training, in addition to being able to preserve your glycogen stores, is the ability to retain your electrolytes for longer periods of time. This is why if you're participating in an extreme event, training for it is considered essential. Your body adapts to the exercise. It adapts to help you maintain your electrolytes, and your body adapts to help you hold on to your glycogen stores. This is cocktail chatter, the amount of fluid you should have before, during, and after exercise, the importance being that you should be drinking before, during, and afterwards. For events that last more than an hour, maybe a sports drink. I have some recommendations I'll show you in a minute. But don't take salt tablets, and don't drink pickle juice or eat mustard packets, because that can create an excess of salt in your blood in relation to the water that you're drinking. It can increase potassium loss, it can irritate your stomach, and it can cause vomiting, and that will make the dehydration much, much worse. No salt tablets, no mustard packets. The electrolytes affected during activity are potassium, sodium, magnesium, and calcium. And you can get them from regular food. You don't really need any special sports foods, sports supplements to get the nutrients that your body needs. Most recreational exercisers don't sweat enough to lose a significant amount of electrolytes. But highly competitive athletes who train and sweat for 2 to 3 hours or more, especially in the heat, they're the ones that need to add salt to their food to help retain fluid and to delay dehydration. And Nancy Clark recommends a good recovery meal of chocolate milk and French fries. The milk contains carbohydrate that your body can use to help replenish glycogen stores. The French fries contain salt or electrolytes as well as carbohydrate. And the chocolate, well, she says that it also contains essential carbohydrate to replace your glycogen stores. And I just say it's there for quality of life. I have an article, a couple articles actually, in Cocktail Chatter for the athletes amongst you. And this is Nancy Clark's recommendations that after exercise, drink to quench your thirst and then drink some more, because your thirst mechanism doesn't always indicate whether or not you've taken in enough fluids. You may have to monitor your urine. If several hours pass without you having to urinate, you may be dehydrated. Again, this is for the athlete, the person who has been participating in endurance activities. Juices replace not only fluid, but carbohydrates, and they provide you with more carbohydrates than you would get from a sports drink. This is why I don't recommend sports drinks. You don't have to be paying for your Gatorade, your Pedialyte. You can have dilute fruit juice to give you the nutrients that your body needs. You can read this at your own time on water versus sports drinks, as well as electrolyte replacements. Vitamins are the links and regulators of energy producing and muscle building pathways. As we digest, absorb, transport, and metabolize food, as we break down the proteins, carbohydrates, and fats for energy, vitamins as well as minerals are essential in each step of the way in getting energy from those macronutrients. The B vitamins govern the energy-producing metabolism reactions, and the needs for B vitamins are proportional to energy expenditure. The good thing is that if you are increasing your calorie intake and you're choosing the correct foods for your activities, then you will be getting the B vitamins that your body needs. And I'm still sticking with the 5+ fruits and vegetables a day. They help the athletes meet the recommended intake for the antioxidant nutrients as well as the vitamins and minerals required. Iron is one of the minerals that's crucial for hemoglobin and myoglobin. Iron is bound up to the molecules, and as the molecules in the blood go through the lungs, it picks up oxygen. So iron binds to oxygen in the lungs and transports it to the cells. Iron supplements should only be taken under medical supervision. Sports anemia is an adaptation to physical training, and it may show up as low iron levels in the blood. It does not need to be treated. If you go to the doctor, if you have a blood test that shows your iron levels are low and you've been training for a sports event, let your doctor know, and perhaps you can go back when you're done training to see what your iron levels are. If they stay low, yes, you may be developing iron deficiency anemia. But if it's a sports anemia, this is a temporary state and should go away. Calcium is a mineral that is involved in bone health, and strength training encourages bone growth, so you want to make sure you have adequate calcium to be able to help the bones to grow. Inadequate calcium, vitamin D, and magnesium intake can lead to stress fractures, because what happens is without an adequate intake of these nutrients, your muscles may not develop correctly, your bones may become weak, and if, for example, you don't have adequate fat stores, your estrogen concentration can decrease, and that results in bone loss. To help prevent weak bones, make sure that you consume adequate calcium and vitamin D as well as magnesium. For the savvy diner, who's also a savvy athlete, be sure that your diet is rich in complex carbohydrates, that it's low to moderate in fat. Make sure you consume nutrient-dense foods and that you're getting the adequate amount of energy for your lifestyle. Your meals should be predominantly carbohydrates because remember, carbohydrates are the preferred fuel source for the muscles. Pre-competition meals should be eaten at least 4 hours before you begin an event because you don't want digestion to be going on while you want your blood to be flowing to your extremities for the activity. Make sure you're adequately hydrated. Space out your protein during the day. To summarize, fuel and hydration management influence exercise capacity. As the intensity of the exercise increases, so does the percent of carbohydrate used to produce ATP. Carbohydrate stores are limited in our bodies. Dietary carbohydrate before, during, and after an event can enhance exercise performance. For those who are interested, the carbohydrate to protein ratio should be about 3 to 1.